Greetings. Welcome. We are about to embark on a journey into a new dawn. Would you like to hear a story? Stories of pain and pleasure. The story. Follow me into this cavern of black crystal. Hey, what's going on? We're doing AI dungeon stories. The stories that I want to tell you, they don't exist yet. We gotta make them. Isn't that cool? We're gonna do AI. I'm terrible at this. We're gonna make some fun stories. Boop. Pause that. Hello. I am the neutral witch of the middle. Oh no, there's no skeleton. This is it. We're here. We're gonna make some stories. Tell some dark tales. We're going to tell some. We're gonna have some frights. Maybe there's gonna be a bat. Maybe a bat will come on stream. And eventually, if I get stumped, I might ask for some help from the chat. So we're all going to be building this together. Isn't that great? One kink? Kink fist? I'm sorry? Oh, hello everyone. So first off, I guess I should I'm going to get some royalty-free music running in the background. I made some songs for this for myself, but the first episode's probably going to have to rely on YouTube. All the music I use is royalty-free. How's this one sound? Ooh, that's spooky. Okay, so first we need a prompt. By the way, I have terrible allergies right now, so if I mute for a bit, that's where I am. I'm coughing. I love to cough. Listen to those bats. Sorry, I have to log into an account. I'm literally doing cross promotion before we start this. Did you know I'm bad at this? So first off, we gotta have a protagonist. We are only going to be using the story tab. If you know anything about AI Dungeon, this will make sense. If not, don't worry about it. You don't hear the royalty-free jams? Are you sure? Or you just live in a dark cave so you don't hear them? Jessica was a normal girl living in Frampton, Michigan. How do you spell Michigan? We'll just wing it. Frampton, Michigan. She was known as the class. By the way, my dogs are about to bark. She was known as the class coward. Every day when she went to school, the popular kids like Joel and Jordan would point and say, "Oi, you fraidy cat." One day, on Halloween night, just like tonight is, Jessica was challenged by the popular kids to sleep one night in Berkshire Manor on the edge of town. It was I don't know how to spell dilapidated. Dilapidated. That's probably close enough. It was a dilapidated, run down manor with an evil aura surrounding it. Jessica approached the door handle, peering behind to catch a glance at her classmates. What happens next? The UFO, no, that's literally the royal. Okay, I have it's called ambient music. Oops, I just muted it. There were two boys there, staring at her. They looked like they were about your age, but their faces weren't right. Jessica Jessica did a double take and shouted back at the boys. Originally I intended Jordan to be a girl, but I guess she's a boy now. What happened to your face? We're not even going to get in the manor, are we? The boys turned around and said, "We're not supposed to be here." "Oh," Jessica replied. "Well, what's going on?" The boys pointed at each other, then back to you. By the way, for the sake of this story, you is Jessica. Jessica asked, "What are you pointing about?" Inside, rage quelled. That's right, I used the word quelled. What of it? You knew these two. They were the popular kids in school. You said, "You're Jordan and Jacob. What are you doing here?" Oh my God. Jordan and Jacob. When Joel and Jordan were the ones that caused her to do that. Oh my God. This is already a frightening tale. I can hardly take it. I should probably move myself so I'm not blocking the screen as much. Boop. Jacob and Jordan, desperately wanting the story to move forward, said, "Hey, Jessica, Please go in the house now. Please. Please. Weeping, nodding, trembling and afraid, she agreed and entered the house. Inside, all was darkness. Taking a deep breath, you inched forward, keeping your eyes on the pair of shadows. Is someone there? Cried Jessica. Instantly, the shadows vanished. You now saw that the pair stood on top of the manor's dining table, which was lit by 2 candlesticks. Standing on either side of the table was a demonic-looking fox. Oh shit. A fox. That's not something traditionally scary, like one would find in a haunted house, but may carry disease or bite, which is realistically scary. Jessica howled. No, Jessica belted out. Just then, the fox awoke and oh, there's 2 foxes, aren't there? Just then, the fox awoke and let out a few pitiful howls before turning back to sleep. The manor then began to shudder with the sound of nails being ground against wood. Jessica said to only herself, and definitely not a Twitch chat. Hey, that sounds like structural damage. I should tell the engineers to fix it. That's a good idea, Jess. We should do that. Said. Who said that? Said the fox. We? You both shouted in unison. The fox in the manor smiled as the sound of more nails being ground echoed through the manor. Jessica bolted to the 2nd story. She locked the door behind her without looking in the room. I'm using too many exclamation points. She turned slowly to find a demonic face. A demonic looking face in the dark, with slits for eyes and no nose. It looked directly at her, grinning evilly. You let out a war cry of anger and burst into the room. But you're already in the room. Jessica shouted, "Why, are you one of those SCP guys from online?" The demonic face said only one word. You were dead. Is that the end? I think Jessica died. The end. Postscript. The house was later demolished for safety reasons, and the land refarmed. No traces of it remained. Well, that's good. Okay, we're going to do a new story. I forgot how to do a new story. Let me BRB. Single player. Custom. I'm sorry, I know everyone loved Jessica so much, but she's dead. You have to get over it. I'm gonna try a different ambient. 1 hour, whatever. Whoops. This one's a little bit louder. Is this Elder Scrolls themed? This is Elder Scrolls themed. Jessica may return. Who knows? It depends on what the AI thinks. Okay. Now we need a new prompt. Would anyone like to give me a name? You can suggest stuff for money. Or, right now, yeah, Clyde. Okay, Clyde. Clyde was the shortest. Oh, I'm going to say you are Clyde. You are Clyde. Clyde is the shortest accountant in his entire department. He wanted to show the other accountants. By the way, let me know how my audio sounds. He wanted to show the other accountants that he was a big man. I'm realizing that this should all be in you and I statements, but it's not. So he set out for for Drink Fizz Island. The most haunted island this side of Utah, famous for its islands. His co-workers begged him not to go. His co-worker... Wait. He had 7 co-workers. And their names were... No, I'll... Wait. But Clyde had other plans. He had already booked a ticket. A luxury suite. Squeaked. The cabin is small, but it has everything you could ever need. You have a bed, a desk, and even a refrigerator. There's even an outdoor shower. It all seems so luxurious. All 7 of Clyde's co-workers called in before Clyde could even lay down his suitcase. Their names were Bobby, Mikey, Dale, Frankie, that one, and Eddie. I don't think that's 7. I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. Yes, that one. Clyde was astounded. His co-workers never helped him. They just called him Short Boy, Small Fry, and for some reason, Honey Piss. Clyde responded, "Are you sure?" "I could always come back next year." They said, "Nah, we got your back. Just let us know when you're ready to get started." I'm sorry, he's going on a year-long vacation? This is what the socialists want. Year-long vacations. I don't even know what Clyde did for a living. Clyde teared up. He didn't know they cared. He began to get tucked in to bed. He'd have to wake early. It was the first day of his year-long vacation on Drink Piss Island. "7 a.m. The alarm clock." The alarm clock. "7 a.m. The alarm clock started to blare music. Clyde looked over to see a man snoring under a "I Love New York" shirt. He must be one of the owners. Why was he sleeping in the same room as the owner? Clyde was shocked. "Excuse me. Why are you in my room?" he asked. The owner said, "Oh, I booked the room. You're the guest." Clyde said, "Oh, good point. I should wake you up before I leave." Huh? Yeah, Clyde, you're really being kind of a dick. Not waking this guy up before you leave. Ah. Clyde set out for the carnival. The creepy carnival that comes once a year to Drink Piss Island and stays the entire year. It was created by Oswell P. Creepy, which is where the name comes from. Clyde set out for the first ride. It was called the Hobbs. It's hobbly, up and down. After that, Clyde went on Fat Bob's Voyage. It's a roller coaster that makes you feel sick. Clyde did a bunch of other shit at the carnival. We probably shouldn't know. Because it's not effective use of anyone's time, frankly. He had a ton of fun, but as the sun started to come up, it was time to leave. He said, "See you next year," and wave. The window to the room was open. Clyde crawls in. Clyde crawls into the window. He can see the counter of the front desk in the distance. He listens for a second. He hears nothing. He gets out of bed and sticks his head out the window. He crawls out the window. He had landed in a bush. He brushed the leaves off and stood up. Clyde starts walking to the counter. He makes sure no one is watching them. He reaches the front desk. He rings the bell. Instantly, an old lady comes out. Clyde thought she was dead, but he found out she just had cataracts in both eyes. She starts looking confused and asks, "Can I help you?" Clyde says, "Yeah, give me a funnel cake." The fair didn't have any. And that sucks. Because that's the whole reason I wanted to go. The lady says, "I think I have some in the back. Do you want lemonade with that?" Clyde answers, "Yeah, those are my favorite." The dogs bark. Spooky. This music might be a little too spooky. The next day, Clyde receives a phone call, but he misspells receives. Why is this song so much louder than the last one? He receives a phone call from Dale and Eddie. "Eddie," Clyde says. Just then, Frankie calls out to Clyde. "Clyde, you have to get out right now. There's..." "There's a twister coming." Clyde asks, "What the hell? I just left your store last night." Frankie says, "Yeah, and that's why you have to get out right now." The twister. No. What's a better word for that? The twister gallops through Drink Piss Island. It destroys the tilt. What? At the fair. It sucks up a tree. It's terrifying. Clyde rushes to I keep turning the music down. It keeps getting louder. What the fuck? Clyde rushes to the window. He looks up into the sky. He sees smoke rising. It means it's time to leave. He says, I need to go. He jumps out the window. Clyde looks down at his body and describes it for everyone. I'm about mid-leg. He points to the spot between his legs. That didn't help anything. Clyde runs as the old woman is walking up to him. She reaches out to help him. She pushes her hand away and steps back. She says, "What's wrong with you?" Clyde explains he needs to go. The old woman asks, "Why? What's your hurry?" Clyde looks around and answers, "There's a twister coming!" The old woman looks at him confused. She asks, "There's a what now?" Clyde starts to run. The old woman looks behind her and shouts out, "Ah, shit!" Without warning. She grabs a tree branch. She swings it at Clyde like a baseball bat. He falls to the ground. She runs at him and tries to spear him with the branch. Clyde screams, "What are you doing? You seemed so cool." The old woman doesn't answer. She's too busy trying to kill him. Frankie says, "Why would she do that? It doesn't make any sense." Clyde manages to roll out of the way. Just then, a familiar face appears. In the distance, we see Ed, and he's angry. He starts to run at her, but the old woman is faster. She runs around him and starts hitting him with a branch again and again. It's like a karate move. Is this Ed? Is Ed different from Eddie? Is this a different Eddie? Ed begins using his own martial arts. It's a mix of karate and wushu. He manages to barely avoid all the attacks. The old woman turns around and runs after him. She turns around again? What? The old woman turns around. One more time and runs straight at Clyde. She spears him with the branch. It hits him right in the chest and he flies up in the sky. He disappears from the ground. The twister picks up Clyde. And then it throws him into the air. He screams while being sucked up into the sky. After it threw him into the air, it disappeared. There's nothing but blue sky all around. Clyde lands with oh God, what could happen? Clyde lands with a thud. He stands up and sees a tree right in front of him. It's so close he could touch it if he wanted to. He runs up the tree like a monkey. Is Clyde a cat boy? Is Clyde a monkey? Do we even know? He's about mid-leg. That's all we know about him. He's about mid-leg. I don't know what that means. Clyde makes monkey noises. and the old woman is distracted. Just then, out of the blue, the tree is hit by lightning. The top of the tree falls off. It's so loud, and then a fire rips through the tree. It lays there smoldering and flaming. Clyde gets off the tree to the safe ground. And just as he lands, he hears the horrific... It's going great, yeah. Is a horrific sound of a horrible scream. It's Eddie. He looked at the old woman, and she ran away in fear. Ed cried out, "I tried to save him, but she killed my brother." Clyde said, "If she killed your brother, you should have told me to not come to Drink Piss Island." Clyde's, Eddie, and you all run out the tree. I thought I was Clyde. The ground is burnt and it's dead. There's nothing but ash and burnt sticks. Ed requests, "We'll have to find him." Clyde asks, "Who?" Eddie replies, "My little brother." Clyde suggests, "We should split up and look for him." Clyde goes one way. You go another. Wait, am I Eddie now? Eddie searches the fairgrounds for his little brother. This story's going on way too long. He runs up and down the rides. He screams for his brother. There's no sign of him. You run around the sides of the island looking for Clyde or any trace of your friend. Eddie wonders, was Clyde even real? You reply, "Of course he was real. I made him up." Eddie says, "Then who am I?" You answer, "Fako." I'm sorry. What? Fako. Fako. Fako looks down at his hands. He is a little bum. You continue your search for Clyde. You walk up and down the beach. You look through the shack. You go through trees. There's no sign of him. Just then, you see Clyde. You see Clyde's body sitting on the ground against the tree. It's smoldering and burnt, just like the ground around him. He's alive, but unconscious. He has a gash on his forehead. You pick up Clyde. It's time to go home. You say. You place him in the bag. You go lift him up, but he's so smelly that you fall over. Eddie appears. I knew I smelled smoke. This is a story that is outright resisting every end I try and give it. Clyde smoke. Don't breathe this. Eddie, Clyde, and you. Fako. Unless that is Eddie. You are Eddie and you are also Fako. All walk towards the sunset. You hope for some ice cream on the way home. Eddie wonders aloud, who would put a bum in a bag and throw him into a tree? Oh, Eddie. All 2 to 4 characters say. In unison, there is a post-credit scene of them getting ice cream. The end. So that was by far the weirdest one. I really like that one more than the first one. Got very existential out of nowhere. Who's Fako? So, okay, so Clyde... There's Clyde. Clyde's the main character. And then there's his friends. Eddie. What was it? Frankie, that one? Bobby. Dale. Most of them didn't matter. There's Ed, who might be Eddie, and also is maybe Fako, and you. I'm a big fan of every character. I'm gonna retweet my my scary stories tweet. Ooh, so that everyone knows. I might switch OSTs. This one's okay, but it's kind of Skyrim-y. Did you hear they're thinking of doing a sequel? Where Frankie, that one, is the main character? I think that could be pretty interesting. Oh, I should probably run an ad, huh? Did Twitch put that thing in action where if you run an ad... If you don't run ads, it runs ads for you. I'm gonna run a 30-second ad. That's the smallest ad I can run. I might need to grab me a root beer. The spookiest drink. By the way, that new emote thing up there is wrong. Don't listen to it. I think we only need 2 subscriptions. With 2 subscriptions, we get another emote. Like this one. And here's one of Hot Dad's emotes. Just because I have it. Here's Tracer. What if Tracer was in a horror story? It'd be pretty spooky. Baloney amputation is now following. Thank you, baloney amputation. Just for you, this next story will be extra scary and extra chilling. Because of you, baloney amputation. That's quite a name, I'm not gonna lie. I forgot to queue up the next story. Let me do that real quick. AI dungeon just fucking shit the bed. Okay, AI dungeon decided to cut me off while I was writing the prompt, so I guess we have to go with an unfinished prompt. You are a peregrine falcon trainer named Melissa. You run your own photag, and have been for years now. The people of the town are happy with it. The problem is, you are not very good at what you do. You run to the supermarket for some Funyuns and some tampons. Just as you get into your car, you are stopped by two men in a car. Oh my god. They look like they could be from any of the 3 major cities: New York City, Los Angeles, or Chicago. You scream out in pain. What kind of pizza do you like? They say they like pepperoni. You ask if they like kids, to which they reply, no, not really. You start crying and telling them you have 3 kids. Your 3 kids' names are Harry, Fred, and George. Oh no. Are those Harry Potter names? Oh, they say. Were they born or adopted? They ask. When you tell them they were all born, they say, that's great. Truly, a more chilling tale has never been told. Melissa, or I guess you, Melissa, say, even if they were adopted, they were probably born at some point. They laugh and say they'll have to look into it later. They tell you to have a nice day. You get back in your car and find a decapitated head in the driver's seat. You scream, but no one hears you. The head belongs to the pizza delivery driver who was killed on his way to your house. Along with his head is the order of Funyuns and the money. But I needed tampons too. Said Melissa. She was horrified to think she'd order a pizza while leaving her house. Rude. Just then, her mother called her. She needed to go to the bank. Are you fucking serious? Oh, I actually made a kind of a David Lynchy. Who's the guy who did the Twin Peaks soundtrack? I made more of a track for that. Here, let's put that on real quick. Give the story a whole new tone. What is it called? It's here we go. She went to the bank and deposited the money. She forgot the head was in the car as she talked to the teller. She found out someone else had ordered the pizza, and they didn't get the head either. She was safe. For now. What will you do? You go home and have pizza and Funyuns. The end. So no head? That was truly a very chilling tale of Melissa, the peregrine falcon trainer, who found the head with the Funyuns and the money in the car. Her mom said that she needed to go to the bank. And she did. That's terrible. How terrifying. Melissa. I like the two dudes are very fun because they blocked her car and then they talked about pizza and then they all said have a nice day. Like I like those two guys. I think those two guys, I wish they had names because I would love for them to appear again. Just two pleasant guys. You ever see two pleasant guys and they just look like they're from a big city but you can't place which one? Like, you know, they got the hoodie and like the kind of like Yankees style hat. What the fuck? It's playing music that's not on the playlist. That's weird. Okay, I'm gonna... okay, stop my own music, please. I'll play, barely music. Were your children born? By the way, this is YouTube user Aries. This is 1 hour of horror OST royalty. Free dark ambient background music for creepypasta and scary stories. I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. It's only got 711 views. Let's start right in the next story, shall we? Can I get any names? Darlene, that's a good name. Okay, I'm going to mute myself so that you don't hear my keyboard for a sec. Let's see. Darlene is a truck driver who drives every day. She is used to some minorly strange things. She's done every pill and drink you can think of. She is a well-lived woman, but nothing could prepare her for the thing she saw in the field that September evening. And for the record, it was September 19th. Ah! The field. The field was not even frosty that night. It was just overcast. You are telling me this happened on September 19th? I thought we were past all these long winters here by now. Darlene gasped. She'd never seen anything like it before. Then something else caught her eye. A little girl about your age stood there with her mother. I am not a little girl. I'm 27 years old. If there's a little girl my age, then she's not a little girl. They looked so scared. And they didn't have any clothes on either. What were those things? Darlene shouted. Hey, put some fucking clothes on. That's a minor. Creep. You didn't even know that was a thing you could do. You looked away, though, unable to watch. Then something else caught your eye. What? No, AI, you're supposed to come up with the crazy shit. Okay, fine. I'll come up with something crazy. Something else caught your eye. Sitting in a bed of wheat. A large, glowing eye stared back at Darlene. The child put clothes on too. That's important. You heard Darlene shout at the girl, "Go in the house now!" And Darlene walked into the eye. That's when you woke up. You didn't know what to think. Then you went back to sleep. And Darlene... Wait, and saw Darlene... And the little girl again. Your stomach started growling. You decided to go downstairs to see what you could find in the fridge. Nothing looked appetizing. But it wasn't a dream. Darlene was really there. That'd be really hacky if it was all a dream. Darlene looked at the girl's mother. And pointed at you and your mom and said, "That one's never gonna grow up." Then she started crying. You looked around for something that may have fallen off the refrigerator. This program does not cooperate. It just wants to do what it wants to do. You pick up the magnets they were holding. A picture a little girl drew. The picture was Darlene and the girl's mother. You were about to put it back on the fridge when you noticed a different picture. The girl had drawn pictures of you, and you looked outside. It was starting to get dark. Darlene was kind of sick of sitting around. She had deliveries to make. While the little girl was inside. Darlene said, "Hey baby, why are you still naked?" To the mother. The mother replied, "What am I gonna do? It's not like I have any clothes to put on her." Darlene opens the back of her truck. They won't miss 2 pairs, Darlene says. She gives the woman 1 adult and 1 child-sized Puma tracksuit with matching shoes. Fresh. Darlene uses her truck as a changing room. Darlene gives the little girl the things. "They're too small. I tried them on when I was her age," the mother said. I'm sorry, what? Darlene says, "They stretch to fit. It's fine." She gets into the truck and starts it up. Then she looks at the little girl and says, "Wear this." The little girl says, "But baby, it's cold out." Darlene says, "Okay, that's weird. Bye." She drives off. The little girl and her mom stare at Darlene. "You're gonna go get some ginger beer. It's non-alcoholic, but it's still fizzy and good for you." Darlene brings the ginger beer back to the mother and child, who are both fully clothed now. I'm serious. I will start a new... No. We'll start a new story. I will. That girl can make grown men cry. "Here you go," she says. "By the way, the little girl's name is Darlene." Absolute goosebumps. Plastic heart, I'm using that. The camera pans out. Darlene was naked the whole time. You didn't know drunks could write like that. It's like the words were just flowing off the pages. You didn't see any typos either. How come you never met her before? Bum, bum, bum. Okay, that's enough. Okay, who are these characters? It's baby. It's cold outside. Says Darlene. Do you know that tune? You say, yeah, I do. Darlene looks at you like she's trying to solve a complicated math problem. Okay, we're Darlene's over. It's over, okay? It's over. This is all cut. None of this is canon. Darlene, the end of the movie is the end. All the other parts were cut for time. Release the Snyder cut. Release the Darlene cut. Hi, you starting a new story? Is it a wizard appears in the sky time, or it was all a dream time? That one kept trying to go into it being a dream, and I kept steering it away. I like the ending that we got more than what it was trying to give me. Because it kept saying stuff about a fridge. Okay, I need a name. Yeah, it's all horror. This show is going to be exclusively scary stories. Or at least I'm going to give it scary story prompts, and then it's going to just completely piss all over it like it always does. Jack and Jane. Okay, Jack and Jane. Okay. We're giving this one a real simple prompt. You are Jane. You live in the middle of New York with your roommate, Jack. You both receive an ominous letter with a large D stamped on the back. Front, I mean. Dear Jane, I'm sorry to bother you again, but there is something I have to tell you, the man says. The letter continues. To describe a meeting that Jack and Jane are invited to attend on The peninsula. I hate typing with my microphone in between my face and the keyboard. The letter continues to describe a meeting that Jack and Jane are invited to attend on the peninsula closest to the moon. The meeting begins at 12:01 a.m. They are instructed to wear red robes. Bring 4 liters of pig's blood. And to leave their home by 1 p.m. They are told not to look into each other's eyes during this time. If they do, they will be killed instantly. Jane brushes it off. It's a prank. Probably the kids down the hall, Jane says. But Jack knows it may be more than what Jane sees. Jack knows I need to turn the music down. Jack knows it may be more than Jane sees. Jack knows that you have to have a disturbing relationship with the number 13. You, Jane, and Jack all live in a 3-story brownstone on a street of the same name. The same name as what? I've lived in a brownstone, lived in a ghetto, I've lived all over this town. You are Mark. No. Jane looks at Jack. Jack hides his eyes. Jane teases him for his superstition, but smiles nicely, tenderly. Jack, what's wrong with 13? Jane says. Okay, I guess it's not going to say anything. Jack replies nervously, I just don't like that number. It's weird. There are 13 people in our class. The number of my girlfriend is 13. And it's just a number, Jack. Jack senses hostility. He knows he should tell his girlfriend, 13, that he's leaving for the meeting at 1 p.m., but he's afraid she'll follow him and be wrapped up in this mess with him. Jack says, Jane, we need to leave soon. We can't be late. Okay, Jane replies. Let's go then. They arrive at the large mansion holding the meeting. It is only 6 p.m. They left at 1 p.m. They are really early. Oops. No, I don't want to log in. God damn it. They enter. The mansion is dark. They can't see anyone around. So they need...
This game sucks!
Hello, bird allergies. Thank you for raiding. That scared me so bad. They enter. The mansion is dark. They can't see anyone around. So they need to get a fire started in the fireplace. Jane picks up... Wait. Jane looks for something flammable, while Jack starts embers in the fireplace. They both look everywhere for kindling. They find nothing. Finally, Jane says, "I'm going to go check the kitchen." What? But there's people in there. Jane smirks. Don't be such a baby, Jack. I can talk to people. Her eyes almost meet his. She walks into the kitchen. In which you can see a table, a bunch of cabinets, and an old refrigerator. "Ha! I got it!" she says triumphantly, dragging a box of matches out of her pocket. Why did she go in the kitchen? Suddenly, a figure appears before Jane in the kitchen. It's a man dressed in a black robe. A creepy smile appears on his face. His face is the same age as Jack's, but his eyes are a man twice his age. Jack's age is questionable. The man in the robe holds a small box of matches at his side. "Are you alone, little one?" he whispers in a deep voice that I didn't do apparently. Jane nods silently. Poor thing. The hooded man says, "What?" "No, please." He looks at you. "I don't want to hurt you, little one. Just let me take you away from here. You'll be safe." Jane walks away, shouting, "Get lost, creep." The man shakes his head. He light up the fireplace with a match, then he toss it into the flames. He sighs happily as the fire lights up the room. "I can't do anything fun anymore." Jane feels bad for the hooded man. She puts her hand his shoulder. Just then, as Jack is trying to start the fire with the kindling, the man sets the box on fire. The man quickly puts it away from the heat. It explodes into flames again. Jack says, "What are you doing? The fire was lit." The man screams out in anger. Jane says, "I think you better leave now." The man shakes his head. He takes a lighter from his pocket and lights it up. Jack takes his lighter. End.
Twitch forces me to share this.
Thank you for the subscription, Audiovore. I don't understand what that means. Jack takes the lighter and flickers it at the man. The fire is so close to him, but he doesn't appear to notice. He instead turns and runs out the door. You hear shouting coming from outside. Outside of the mansion. Jack's girlfriend, 13, is waiting for him. She doesn't look happy. Jack says, "I'm sorry, 13. I'll talk to you later." He runs after the man. "Wait up!" 13 runs into the house. As Jack and the old man, he's not old, I don't know why I call him, and the hooded man exchange words. "Leave me alone! Leave me alone, you creep!" You watch as the man draws a sword from his side. Quickly, Jack pulls out his revolver and shoots the man in the shoulder. "What the fuck?" says the hooded man. That's bullshit. He yells, dropping his sword in pain. "Sorry about that," says Jack, holstering his gun. The man stumbles back, but catches himself against the tree. I thought they were inside. No, her name is 13. Kind of like the guy from Dorohedoro. Yeah, Jack, we don't know Jack's age. Jack could also be 13. The hooded man says, "You know what? We might skip the meeting. Can you call an ambulance? You kinda owe me." Jack nods. The two of them leave, and you sit down on a nearby swing. You sigh, but then you hear shouting from the front of the house. "Hello," you call out. You hear 13 inside the house shouting. She's screaming out the most awful things. "Go away! I don't want you here! Leave me alone! Go away!" Jane rushes to help 13 and enters the house. After a few moments of silence, you can hear sobbing. "Should we go in?" you ask. "I don't know what's going on in there," says Jane. But I am Jane. You burst through the front door to see 13 sobbing on the floor. Her clothes are in tatters. "I've been through hell and back," she says. Jane walks to your side and puts an arm around you, who I guess is 13. 13 details how all of the fires they started ripped her clothes. That sucks. says Jane. But it looks like you're going to be fine. Jane helps her up and helps her outside, and leads her outside. I'm sorry you had to see that, she says. We'll talk about this later. Jane and 13 go out for some dinner. They go to their favorite restaurant, which is called Wings. Come on, let's eat, says Jane's. I'm starving. They sit down at the table. After a few moments, you get up to get the food. Meanwhile, Jack and the hooded figure are sitting by the fire. This could have been prevented, said the man. We could have met somewhere else. Don't beat yourself up over it, says Jack. The hooded man looks into Jack's eyes and says, do you think we'll meet each other again in the future? Jack thinks for a moment. I don't know, he admits. Jack slips the hooded man his phone number. I also have Discord. Jack says, leaving the hooded man. We return to Jane and 13, who have just grabbed their food and sat down. The three of them sit in silence as the three eat. Afterwards, the four of them go to the local park. They sit on a hill and watch the stars. Jane says, I'm really glad I met all of you. This is the best summer ever. Jane says, holding 13's hand, looking into Jack's eyes. I'm glad too, says 13, but I keep thinking about the man in the woods. Jane says, there wasn't a man in the woods in this story. What? Oh, music stopped. I love how I gave the story exactly what it wanted and nothing happened. 13 says, sorry, I spaced out. What was I saying? You were saying about how there's a man in the woods? Oh, that. I talked to him before you guys did. He asked me if there was a tomorrow. Jane says, what did you say? I said there most likely will be. Jane smiles and says, cool. Jack looks at the hooded man, and to his surprise, the man's face is exposed. It's the same man they met at the meeting earlier. We know that! Is there something else we should know? Asked Jack. The hooded man smiles. Yes, he says. I'm single. Jack says, the AI is just dead. Jack says, what? I'm single. The man laughs and says, now that I've met all of you, I'll leave. See you in 50 years. He smiles and disappears into the woods. Jack is forlorn. The man is gone. And Jane is totally macking on his girlfriend. Oh, well, whatever. Jack goes to sleep in the back of the pickup and wakes up when they return to Brockton. When he gets home, he finds a letter on his pillow. Dear Jack, sorry about the ending. Yeah, thanks AI Dungeon. That's a great ending, I guess. AI Dungeon just absolutely refuses to tell a scary story. It's like, oh, you find the man's hook hand, and the man goes, thank you, and leaves. Look, we gotta be real. That relationship wasn't going anywhere. It was better that they both got out of it. They both met someone new. One of them disappeared for 50 years. It's fine. Okay, now I have to ask the terrible question. We're 2 hours in. Do we do one with an existing copywritten character? Oh, that whole time I assumed it was Jane Romero. Oh my god. They do it down at Canvas Sands. They do it at Waikiki. Lazing about the beach all day and night. The crickets creeping. Okay, we're gonna make another one. I've been going for about an hour 45. I might just keep this going to like 9 or 10. My time, it's 8:30, by the way, so I might need to take a little break in the middle, though. I'm wondering how big I should make these prompts. Hey, Swamp Troggle. I think it's going good. All of the stories suck, and I like that. I think all the stories sucking is pretty good. Hello, Sexy Witch Melody. Okay. You are Midge Rodsmythe. You are the senior VP of a real estate firm. Small, but lucrative. You just checked into a hotel at the end of town. Excited for the Halloween celebration that's coming up. The hounds. I don't know if you can hear. Oh, my music stopped. Whoops. Huh, I need to find more royalty-free. Okay, here's 1 hour of royalty-free horror music. Okay, I got it. Your dog, Lester, is also staying at the hotel. You meet the hotel owner in the foyer. He's an odd man with a thin mustache and jet black hair. Hello, you say. I'm looking to buy some property. The innkeeper looks at you suspicious. What? No, I don't think so, he says. You say, you're right. I'm just joshing ya. I'm here for the Halloween celebration. The man laughs and says, oh yes, we have lots of it planned out. We've got a huge bonfire going on tonight. It'll be one of the best parties ever. You nod your head and smile at him. I don't know why I imagine the suited guy is Jordan Peele. I'm just imagining the continental breakfast guy, basically. I love Jordan Peele. I'm happy that he's getting more roles as characters in AI Dungeon. You nod your head and smile at him. The innkeeper, which is definitely not what we named him, shows you to the breakfast nook. In it, there's all kinds of fun eggs and waffles and stuff. What a treat. Just then, out of the window, you spot something. A snowman and his family. You go outside to meet them. Hi there, you say. The snowman says, why, hello there. His wife asks, did you put the... She stops. She looks right at you. Her voice trembles. She covers her kids' faces instinctively to protect them. Honey, we have to go, says the snow woman. Suddenly, the snowman disappears. You look around. The snowman and his family are nowhere to be found. You shrug your shoulders and head back to your room. You undress and sit in bed in your nightie. Your dog, Lester, barks happily. He's never been on a fun trip. You can't stop thinking about the snowmen. Just then, you awake and find a carrot in your bed? Why? You get up and follow the carrot south. It leads to an old wooden door. You open it. You are now in Osvreep's room. Oh my god. Thank you, bird allergies. Osvreep is a large... Let's find out what Osvreep is. I have to know. Osvreep is a large greenish creature. It wears a crown of bone and has long, curved fingernails. You say, "Hi. My name is Midge." And that's when Osvreep shows his true colors. He snarls, "Go back to your village, Midge. But the fun has just begun." Midge stamps her foot down. I'm tired of these racist fantasy characters. This is just like the first 30 minutes of the film Shrek. You scream. No, you shout. The crowd goes wild. The Asvreeses don't like this one bit. He starts to glow. You scream, "Uh-oh." Midge closes the door and runs away. It's just not my day, you say, tired. But that's not all that happens. Suddenly, the world starts shrinking. The entire town of dirt is now the size of your thumbnail. The nearby forest the size of a single tree. Fuck! Midge screams. The innkeeper screams for Midge. He shouts. You can't escape. You're going to be a main attraction at Fantasy Worlds. What is Fantasy Worlds? Midge says. It's the biggest entertainment industry in the world. People pay good money to go there and to be a hero or villain. He winks. You decide. Just let me go. The innkeeper holds his hand out. He beckons to Midge one final time. Then he drops his hand. Sorry, but it's too late now. Midge wakes up. She looks around. What time is it? She says groggily. She gets up and dresses. You don't know how she's doing that in the time given, but her outfit isn't that revealing. She walks out to the stage. There, all of the superheroes are gathered. Hundreds of children watch on. What was your dog's name? Lester. Lester, in his suit and domino mask, barks joyfully. That's not how you spell it, I guess. Midge walks up to them. She says, "Hello." They don't respond. "The name's Midge. What's yours?" The kids just stare blankly. Midge? That's your superhero name? The kids think. What a buffoon! "You're so stupid," they say in unison. The kids laugh. "You are hilarious." They continue to look at you with disgust and amusement. The superheroes stand up. They activate their laser vision. They fly away. The super real... Come on. Nope. They fly away. The kids think. The kids scream. This new season of Fortnite sucks dick. Oops. I accidentally hit do instead of fuck. You, the kids scream. This new season of Fortnite sucks dick. Well, that's that. If you want to help Midge, you're going to have to work for a living. You might be able to find something at the airport, right? What airport is this again? You wake up in your airline uniform. You have to save Midge. You have to. Your boss yells at you too. Get a move on. It's going to be a long day. A long, long day ahead of you. This has all been a very stressful experience for you. You awake again. And none of that was real, and the Midge stuff is definitely real. Midge frowns as the kids throw their drinks. The superheroes laugh. Breakfast time, the monster says. Midge holds your hands as you walk to the cafeteria. She sits down at the table with you and a bunch of children. Thanks for coming out with me, Midge says. She blushes. I really needed this. The kids begin to argue over something they saw on the internet. A kid with red hair, a goatee, and a cheap white suit sits down across from you. Hello. I'm Danny Elfman, says the child. I wrote the music for the films Edward Scissorhands, The Nightmare Before Christmas, The Bodyguard, and many more. Did he what? Midge scowls. You're not. You're not Danny Elfman. You're not. Don't lie. Danny Elfman is an adult. She slams the table. Music's getting a little loud, sorry. The other kids stare at her. Wow. Midge is Midge, you say. I'm a big fan of your music, Elfman, Elfman says. Midge cries, holding her head. She doesn't know what's going on. She's a big fan of Oingo Boingo. But she is 70% sure that Danny Elfman is an adult. The children of the school have seen my movies over 100 times. They know every song. They know every line. Can you write a song for them, says Elfman. Sorry, but you were too busy. Has this ever been a horror story? Did, like, literally any of this horror at all? This pisses me off. Midge punches the ground. The ground open. And an earthquake ruptures the crust of the earth. Her superpower. She then begins to use it to kill everyone in the school. The superheroes fly away, but Midge is too powerful. They scream as their bones are broken and reset. You panic. What can you do? The ground stops moving. Danny Elfman shouts out. He says, a functional program. Okay. He says, from my heart and from my hand. A hero is born. One final hero erupts from Danny Elfman's hand. It's Oingo Boingo. I've been waiting for you, Midge screams. The ugly girl is my hero. The children love it. Midge and Oingo Boingo have a 75-minute long Dragon Ball Z inspired fight. But just when you're feeling confident, Oingo Boingo turns the tide of battle with his Oingo Boingo magic. I knew you'd come back, Midge says. Midge is killed by a Destructo Disc. Lester screams. Can he revive our hero using... pretty good. Using the power of his love? Oingo Boingo flies out of the school to safety. Midge, the children cry. Oingo Boingo is invincible, but he can be killed. Lester uses his ultimate technique to fly to Midge and give her a kiss. Nothing happens. He attempts it again. Nothing. The children cry. Their tears form pools around Midge's corpse. An earwig hops out of one of those tears. It gets lost in the mass of tears. It hops here and there until it finds its way to... No, the children cry. Midge's possessed corpse rises, eyes white. It attacks Oingo Boingo at speeds that could kill a cheetah. It's unearthly how quick she can move. Black blood spurts from her mouth. Oingo Boingo prepares for the final battle of his life. He turns to you. Do you really think you can win? Nothing bad ever happens to me. Oingo shouts. Midge says nothing. She simply charges. As soon as she charges Oingo Boingo, he uses his power to make her fall down dead. He laughs and laughs and laughs. You stare at him. The children cry and attack Oingo Boingo. They storm towards him, screaming and slobbering all over him. They beat their fists against his body, and many tears later, he's dead. Thank you. Oingo Boingo looks at you. Oh shit. Lester returns to the hotel. He goes to his room. He puts in the key, and to his surprise, it opens. Inside, he discovers a large box. He opens it to reveal a trip to Disneyland. He opens the box to find a fistful of tickets. But I'm alone. Who will join me at Disneyland? Lester cries. Lester says. I don't want to be too mean to the AI. I don't think it's going to pick... If I say cries, it's going to think he's crying. Lester says. But... But he's alone. He has no one to go with. There's no one who likes to go to Disneyland. Determined, he decides to find a date in a day. A week passes. His date is waiting at the gates of Disneyland. His date looks exactly like Midge. Same clothes, same hair, even the same eyeliner. She screams and hugs him tightly. They skip to the front of the line. Oingo Boingo has other ideas. Oingo Boingo says, "Hey, you can't skip if you don't have Fast Pass." Lester looks at Oingo. No, he can't skip the wait line, his double says. I'll teach you to skip lines, you. Oingo Boingo explodes. Just then, behind him, you see the person responsible. It was his girlfriend, standing there. Ooh, she says. Why the double cross? Was she jealous? Let's go on Space Mountain, Oingo Boingo says. It's a beautiful story. They all ride Space Mountain and Gadget's Go Coaster. The end. Beautiful, beautiful story. So if we've learned anything, it's that if you give AI full reign to make a story, it just makes Mulholland Drive. Hello, I'm back. I see you have the Judgment Boy emote. The Judgment Boy is basically child Oingo Boingo, so that is true. It's basically Danny Elfman but small. This music get louder? Like, what the fuck? So here's the deal. I have a deal. God, why is it's getting like really loud? On my page it says $1.69 or subs can change. They can suggest names or locations in the middle of a story. So you can change a story while it's going. This next story, any donation above $1, because it doesn't detect dollars. It doesn't detect under $1. Any bits above 5 bits or any subs can just blurt out a suggestion. It could be a location, a name. It can be an action. And I'll translate it into something that the AI will understand and submit it. Nothing like racist or bigoted or anything like that. Let's come up with I want audience participation in this one. So let's come up with a prompt together. Okay. Oh. Goku orders McDonald's from a haunted Burger King. And then he goes to the bathroom. After he's done, you go back up to your room. You find that it's now nighttime. Goku dies. And the end. Wow, that was a good story. Okay, this next one, though. This next story is gonna be better. What if we try another haunted mansion? Because the first haunted mansion didn't work out. Okay. The house September built. A haunted mansion that used to be owned by a trans polycule. The House of Loose Leaf. The House of the Rising Sun.mp3. God, y'all. I'm just going to leave it as a house, as a haunted house, and we'll let the AI decide what happens next. Jerica arrived at her new house. It was rough, disgusting. The all-wood paneling on the walls was cracking. But it's all she could afford. Millennials. Am I right? Jerica put down her luggage. I just realized... Oh. I need to... Yeah. You are Jerica. Jerica arrived in her house. It was rough. She put down her luggage. She lived here alone now. I need to stop trying to write it good and start trying to write it just like bulk text that the AI can read. But oh, yeah, I'll leave that for later. Oh, is Alice Moonflower streaming? Well, if we end soon, I'll raid, but I don't know if I'm ending soon. Okay. I'm glad you're home, Jerica said. What did you want to talk about? Nothing responded. Since Jerica lived alone, as I just said. Well, I guess we can start with my room. Jerica went into her bedroom and opened a drawer. Here's your bed. You can sleep in this one if you like. Nobody responded. It's okay. You can stay in any bed. You still have not said anything. Anyway, Jerica said, how was your day? Tell me everything. Jerica plugs in her laptop. She is still on 4G because her house doesn't have Ethernet yet. She sees reports on her new home. Before she moved in, it was a meth lab. Police raided it and ruined the place. Yikes, I can't wait to move out of this hellhole. You just moved in. Jerica looks at the name of the man who made the meth. His name was Connor. Man, I really can't wait to leave this town. No, we're not doing that. Jerica's a weird one, I'll tell you that. Jerica took her earrings off. She walked down to the kitchen and opened the fridge. Inside the fridge was a half-eaten chicken, rotten. You see a plate with bird bones in it. Ugh. You can't throw that out. I am not touching that, says Jerica. Oh, you can throw that out. I'm not touching that, says Jerica. Jerica pours a glass of milk. She starts drinking when she realizes, oh, come on, she says, you had to kill Connor. The phone starts ringing. It's in the kitchen. I'll get it, says Jerica. Connor is on the line. Jerica is astounded. Connor says, you have 1 hour to get outside of town or I start firing. Don't try to escape. Connor hangs up. Who was that? Jerica goes back to her room. She reaches for the briefcase under her bed. Inside is a 9mm, not registered to her. I have to go. Okay, but be careful. You walk outside and get into her car. Jerica starts the engine. She runs her car directly into the body of a deputy. Then she peels out. Call the police. Call them now, she says. You pick up a phone and dial 911. It goes straight to an answering machine. Jerica arrives at Connor's house. Outside, several vehicles. Maybe I can lose them, says Jerica. Jerica does a U-turn in the middle of the road. Then she drives directly into a fire hydrant. She jumps out of the car, firing her 9mm into the air while diving. Connor's men fire back. Bullets hit her legs. She goes down, firing her gun while rolling to safety. Oh, fuck, what is that? Connor runs in with his pistol. He wants to flank Jerica. You have a choice. Run away or help your sister. What do you think I should do, you ask? There is no time to decide. I thought I was Jerica. I guess she just has a sister now. Plankman, I'm going to electrocute you if you say that. Jerica spins and fires her gun in every direction. Bullets hit Connor. After he falls, she goes to him and shoots him in the head. Go, she says. You run. 20 feet later, you hear a big bang. You're back. Meanwhile, the ghosts in Jerica's house are bored and pissed. They begin to pour out of every window. You turn around and they are all around you. You try to run away, but every step you take, they cut your feet off. Jerica lurches forward. The bullet, deep. Who shot her? She turns and sees the gunman was you. Plastic Art says day 28 in the ghost house. That's absolutely what this fucking feels like. This absolutely is a ghost house game. Like, holy shit. You are Gustavo Fring, owner of Los Pollos Hermanos. You walk at her like the Terminator and hold your gun to her head. Any last words? Gustavo says. Jerica spits blood and says, "Fucking kill me." You pull the trigger. Nothing happens. Thanks, you say. By the way, your mother said to tell you she's proud of you. You pull the trigger. It clicks incessantly. Jerica turns around. She spits blood into Gustavo Fring's mouth. Is it Gustavo Fring or Frigg? I'm dry. Dry. Gustavo Fring puts the gun directly in her mouth. Good. 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 Do it. Goodbye, Miss Venture. Oh my god, the Venture Brothers finale. He pulls the trigger. Her head explodes like a ripe watermelon. The ghosts dissipate. You can't believe it. Jerica awakens in her house. You hear the sheriff banging on the door. You open it up. The sheriff is holding a clipboard. He's holding a small plastic bag with a bloody cloth inside. Here you are, says the sheriff. Jerica tells the sheriff she did not kill the deputy. But the sheriff doesn't hear because she's a ghost. The end. No. It wasn't a dream. Jerica got shot and became one of the ghosts in her house. That's the end. No. Jerica was just paid to kill to kill Connor. And then it turns out that her sister was Gustavo Fring, I guess? I don't know. I'm very confused right now. I wanted to say, like, you know, when you do a voice, there's always like a power phrase that you have to say to get in that voice. When I was gonna do Gustavo Fring, for some reason, the first thing I think of was to say, "My fortune is yours for the taking. I left everything I own in one piece." I love Giancarlo Esposito. I don't know why I'm so weird. I'm sorry. Payday 2 is wild because it's like the writing's awful and most of the actors in it are terrible, and then they legitimately have like three of the best actors on TV and movies in it. It's fucking weird. Actually, 4, I guess. I don't know. Nah, I don't want to say anything controversial. But like, I didn't know who played the elephant until I watched Fargo season 2, so. If you like Breaking Bad, you should watch Fargo season 2. Okay, so it is Fring. Okay. Now we need to think of a new story. I don't know if I'm ever stopping. I think this is just my life now. I'm just gonna keep telling stories for the rest of my life. Thank you, Plankman. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Thank you, Bird Allergies, for the gift sub to Plankman. That's really nice. I think we're 1 away? I need to check real quick. Hold on. Affiliate. We are 1 subscriber point away. The Audiovore just gifted a sub to Swamp Trungle. We are now 0 away. Thank you so much. Oh my god. Baby, we got a new emote. We're going to have a new emote. Probably whenever Twitch... if you're not on my Discord, I'll probably be holding like a vote or something on my Discord to get the new emote. Thank you so much, the Audiovore. Thank you so much, Bird Allergies. I've already started writing the next story, so. You are Cassio Nassus. Cassio Nassus is the #1 bot scrapper in the cyber army. She's a lone wolf and a rebel and doesn't play by the rules. She just received word from HQ. They need her to exit retirement because the ghosts of her former enemies are back. Cassie has been working on this project for years now, and she knows it will be successful when she sees what's being built. You spit into the abattoir. Forgot how to spell that. BitTorrent. You spit into the bucket next to your workbench. You get word from HQ that you might have to stop building because the ghost of the first robot is coming to your house. This is going to be so much fun. The ghost knocks 3 times. It says, Cassio Nassus, open the door. You wonder who the ghost is. A minute later, HQ tells you the ghost can be seen by your neighbors. Your neighbors have always been snitchy little fucks. Their names are Margaret, Wendy, and Oliver. If they saw the ghost, they'd be sure to tell everyone. You have to kill it yourself. You remove your utility belt and put on a flight helmet. You open the door, and the ghost named Henry stands before you. Cassio Nassus, I know why you're here, and why you've been sent to kill me. You say, what's it to you? Ectobrains. Henry says, I'm the last of the Oak Wardeners. You gasp. The Oak Wardeners? But they... They're stories, myths, lies. Henry says, I'm not, or at least I'm the last of my kind. I'm an Orkwaldner, and we are a peaceful race. You say, oh, okay. And don't kill him. Instead, you exit to talk to Margaret. Margaret! Wendy and Oliver. Margaret. Bitch. Margaret asks, so did you see him? You say, oh, I saw him all right. And show them Henry's corpse. Wendy asks, what should we do with it, you say. Get rid of it, Oliver says, but shouldn't we call the police or something? Just then, a scratch at the window. It's Henry's. Ghosts. Ghost. It says, hey, you shouldn't dispose of me yet. I can help you. You reply, I'm not convinced. You. Then it disappears. You say, that was fucked, and then you all agree to let it in. The ghost named Henry tells you that the Oakenwalders helped create your kind to help fight the Zugzus, a rival species. You say, rival species? Problematic. Henry responds, yeah. Whoops. There's an awkward silence. But then you, your neighbors, and Henry all think what the Oak Wielders really look like. Your opinion on what the Oak Wardeners look like. Wendy says, I think they look like demons. Margaret says, I think they looked like angels. And Oliver says, I think they look like Ned Flanders. You say, I think they look like short Ned Land types. Wendy says, ouch! Henry is pretty pissed at how roasted he is. He considers leaving. Just then, a knock at the door. It's the pizza man. Margaret goes to get it, and everyone else decides to gather around the pizza, as it seems like this is a suitable length of the time to finish their opinions of what the Oaken Warders look like. What the fuck is an Oak Wardener? What the fuck is this? By the way, the Audiovore and Bird Allergies have both gifted subs. If they want, they can submit a suggestion. Because I need to steer this somehow away from whatever the fuck it's doing. This I don't think a single horror story has been told tonight. I think every single story has just devolved into this bullshit. There's an Amber Alert, sorry. That's what I'm trying to do a sci-fi horror. I'm trying to do like a future time thing. And then it's like the Oakenwalders. I'm like, what is this? The Oak Wardeners. Margaret stands up to get the soda and cups. When she returns, they all look at her because they think that she's going to be able to answer the question. She says, I don't know. It's hard to say what the Oaken Warriors look like. There are so many different stories. All of them go outside and admit that no. They all have a slice of pizza and some Sprite. Cassie, or you don't love Sprite, but appreciate that it's the most popular soda, so they ordered it. Henry, no. After the first slice, you hear the phone ring. I have to return to the... I have to return to pretending that this is a horror story. Was that another hour? Oh my god, we're already out of... Okay, here's another free one. Let's see if this one's any good. This was supposed to be sci-fi. Margaret gets it. She says, "Hello, Pizzarama." Oliver asks, "Can we speak to the pizza cook?" She tells him, "No." No. The pizza cook has been dead for 200 years. After the call, the pizza is gone. Margaret puts away the cash and says, "Well, this has been fun. I have to go." Cassie stands up. I guess you. Cassie stands up and says, "No, Margaret. Please. We have to. Talk about the ghost." She shrugs and sits back down. Cassie says, "Margaret, you have to help me. We all do." She sighs and says, "Fine." The ghost appears at the top of the stairs. He says, "So, you're probably wondering what I want." The group gasp. "What do you want, ghost?" screams Cassie. You stand up and ask, "Can't you just go away?" The ghost shakes its head. "I can't do that. I want you to help me, my last request." If I hear one more thing about the Oakwalders. You scream, "What's your last request?" "I want you to close your eyes." Everyone does so, except Margaret. You stare at her. She stares back. The ghost disappears. Everyone is silent. Then they open their eyes. To their shock and horror, Margaret's face is smeared in blood. Margaret says, "Oops." The lights go out. As the lights come on, we see that everyone has a bloody knife in their hands. "Is this what you want?" they ask the shadowy figure on the staircase. "Yes." "Yes," comes to reply in a monotone voice. The lights go out again. The knife is buried in Cassie's neck. She makes a high-pitched scream before dying. The large group is too startled to act, and the figure slowly makes its way down the stairs. Wendy and Oliver hold their knives out towards the approaching shadowy figure. The figure stops at the edge of the group. "Why did you kill my daughter?" Oliver softly cried, his eyes brimming with tears. "I had no wish to kill her." The lights go out again. And as they come on, we see the group is no longer in the room. All that is left is a bare stone staircase. Slowly, a figure begins to ascend behind the stairs towards you. The figure says directly to your face, "I I'm here to collect the remainder of my accomplishments. The end. Well, uh, so, shall we do another? This might be the last one of the night. Oops. We really got to think of a good one this time. I need a good prompt because my prompts have all been too vague. You and your friends Hector, Vicky, Michael, and Chat are all going on a road trip. You're visiting the campground you grew up near. You've never been there. There's talks that something or someone is stalking people in the woods. You don't care. You have to get drunk and have a good time. You're all driving to the campgrounds in a red Jeep. As you drive along the highway, you see a small town ahead of you. It looks like it had been abandoned for years now. The houses are boarded up and empty. Okay, this might actually be Silent Hill. You approach a drugstore. Vicky and Chat are on their way to the pumps. You dust off an old aluminum sign, and it says, pumpkins on it. You know you should call home, but you can't bring yourself to do so. You need to be free. You ask your friends, does anyone know what pumpkins is? They tell you that pumpkins is a brand of beer. You tell them that when you grow up, you're going to be a brand of beer. They don't believe you. I hate all of you. You scream. I will be beer, I will. They all give you a look like, ew. They don't get it. You want to be free. You are all thirsty, so you go inside and buy some beer. You put the money on the counter, but the cashier says something to the effect of, I don't know what you think you bought. We don't sell beer. You all are so angry. You leave the store and drive away in a huff. You arrive at the campground. It looks a lot like the old town. It's abandoned, quiet, and covered in a white, ashy dust. You get out of the car and walk around a bit. You find an old, broken-down gas station. You go in and see if there is water or food. You find a sign that says pumpkins on it. But it's in a language that you don't understand. You ask a man in a dirty brown uniform if he knows what the sign means. Fuck off, the man says. He's a bit grubby. You go to DuckDuckGo and Google it, and it turns out it literally means fuck off. You didn't know that until now, but you still don't care. You don't want to be here. You go back to the car, drive back to the campground. You're at the campground. You walk to the bathrooms of the camp. Your friends are all freshening up in the mirrors of the communal bathroom. You sneak a peek at their butts and see that they are the same, which makes you sad. You run into a girl about your age who is also at the camp. You talk to her for a bit. Hello, what's shakin'? You ask the girl. She introduces herself as Gila. She goes on to tell you that she used to live in the camp before the old people moved out. Old people? You ask Gila. Yeah, like for example, if you haven't guessed by now, I'm referring to the people who live here. We're all old! You mean like over 100 years old? Gila runs away. You return to the bathroom. Does she always do that? You ask your friends. No, just most of the time, Vicky says while brushing her teeth. You go to the bathroom and close the door. You wash your hands in the sink, and in the mirror, you see a shape. Behind you, you turn around and it's a girl your age. She's pretty, but she has a face that makes you uncomfortable. She has beautiful long dark hair and large dark eyes. You say, "Hey, how's it going, beautiful?" I'm trying to do it, AI. You say, "Hey, how's it going, beautiful?" She doesn't understand. I was just trying to be friendly. She doesn't smile. Instead, she gives you a look back you can't decipher and walks away. You are filled with sadness. Vicky puts her hand on your shoulder. You haven't felt the same way since Margaret dumped you. You are full of joy. I've got the greatest friends in the whole world, you say while hugging yourself. We're your friends, Becca? Asks Gila. Yes, and I'm Becca. Okay, so we are Becca. We've just found that out. We are Becca. Beer. You and your friends sit around the couch in your cabin to play some board games. You joke about playing Strip. Shit, what's a good board game? Strip Carcassonne. But instead, I don't have Uno. Hello, what's up? Why are you saying hey? Hey, what's up? Hey, what? But instead you play Chutes and Ladders. You all have a great time playing games, eating candy, and just being kids. They were getting beer! Why are they kids now? It's a nice change for your normal weekend. I'm enjoying being an adult who is young enough to still be called kid, even if technically we are all legal adults, and then some. All of us are older than 19. You say? It's Carcassonne, but you strip. That was obvious. Oh shit, I need more free background music. Shit. Any music? I'm just gonna... Just then, the window makes an awful noise. The wind howls. Lightning strikes. Outside. Briefly. Forgot the kids' names. What are their names? Hector, Vicky, Michael, and Chat. Hector considers unplugging his Alienware because the storm will fry it. He runs off to unplug from the wall and the Ethernet cable. Left without Hector. You, Chat, Michael, and Vicky all are in fear. You say? Your goodbyes to one another and go to the meetup with him in the hallway. What's going on, you ask? It's cold out there. The storm is coming. Who said that? You say? I've never known you to be afraid of a little wind. Do you remember my storm chaser? You laugh when you realize he's talking about the laptop. Of course. Hector brings in his laptop. It's got all the RGB and cool fans that make it a beast. Chat and Vicky are really impressed. But then the power goes out. And a scraping sound is heard outside. Hector shakily says, "It's the beginning of the end. Everyone, into the bathroom," he screams. The lights flicker on and off a few times and then go out completely. When the lights come back on, there is a blonde, blue-eyed creature in the hallway. He doesn't look as big as a human, but he's tall. Her eyes are glazed over, and she isn't making any sense. Vicky screams, but composes herself. "Who are you?" Vicky asks. "Wendy," she shouts. "We have to go out there before it's too late." Wendy runs up the wall, and then falls. Oh my god, is this the character from the last story? Wendy's hands begin to rotate. She looks quizzically at the party. "Was no one going to invite me?" she says. Then, in a booming voice, she screams. "I am the gatekeeper." The lights flicker on and off. "We have to figure out how to shut her up," Chat shouts. Chat takes out his Nerf hammer shot and fires five foam missiles at the monster. A Nazi? Oh, because blonde hair, blue eyes, yeah. "You shut her up," you say, very frightened. "Please, don't worry." As he reloads, Wendy's arm begins to spin again. "You keep her shut." He fires another barrage of missiles. As you begin to feel a little better, you notice that the monster is beginning to disappear. "We can't let it get away," you shout. Just then, Michael, who has done nothing, activates his powerful speaker and begins to play a song. The monster begins to dance in place. "Get out of here. This is between me and the monster." He fires his Nerf rifle at Wendy, hitting her several times. The hammer shot is not a rifle, but that's fine. Wendy falls to the floor, sputtering. Her arms... I have a word for this and I forgot what the word is. Her arms shooting out in all directions. Her only option is to try and get back up. "Get after it, boys!" you shout. The monster makes a terrible howl, then turns around and vanishes through the wall. You and your friends begin to laugh. Just then, Chad is gone. You don't know where they went. But Vicky doesn't. Vicky doesn't move. She's frozen in fear. Quick, have a seat. You might be here a while, you say, motioning to the free couch. Vicky sits down. You sit next to Vicky and do that douchey yawning thing where you put your arm around her. Vicky shudders and says, "Don't do that." "I thought you'd be used to it by now," you say wearily. You wait for a second, and she says nothing, so you go on. Jesus Christ. Michael says, I have to go. I have to find chat." Vicky agrees. And Hector installs. Lemmius, thank you for following. Hector installs his usual program. "What happened to you?" "I don't feel like talking about it." "Well, I think it's pretty terrible what they did to him." Hector launches Team Fortress 2. He finds a server, but it takes a while. He chooses his favorite class. You and Vicky start walking out of the cabin. But why'd I have to kill Vicky? Wendy's the killer. Wendy's the monster. "Hey V, come back here." "No, we need to go," you say, walking away. He ignores you and chases after her. Hector screams. "I need a pocket medic." But Vicky is already gone. You shake your head. What a tool. I'll go get him. Vicky deadlifts Hector, and they all go into the woods to find chat. Later, at Lucy's house, you and Vicky sit in the back of her car, a silver CTS. You pull out your phone and send a text to your mom. "Mom, where are you?" Your mom texts back. "What?" "Didn't you know I'm out of town?" You reply, "No, I didn't know." Your mom laughs nervously. "I'm at Lucy's house in Philadelphia. Why are you text messaging me?" "But Mom, I'm at Lucy's house," you reply. Your mom replies, "Yep." You think to yourself, what's she up to? "Mom, when are you coming back?" "I'll be home tomorrow night." "Why?" You close your phone and venture out into the woods. You find a ring of white flowers in the woods. Almost angelic in appearance. The flowers and mushrooms dance in circles around the clearing. But in the center is a dead body. The corpse of a little girl. She appears to be around the same age as Vicky, maybe a year or two younger. You walk up and look at her face. It's so hard to see someone so young. Your heart beats faster. You start to sweat. You hope your friends are okay. But you know they might be dead. You can't leave the girl like this. You call out, "Is there anyone there?" No response. "Hello?" A voice comes from behind a large oak tree. "Do you come in peace?" It's Wendy again. She walks from off the side of the tree. You look at each other's eyes, and she says, "I kept quiet about the plan. I'm so sorry." "What plan?" She sighs, walks over to you, and gently puts her hand on your shoulder. "There's a lot about your mother you don't know," Wendy explains. You're puzzled. You look for an explanation in her face. She begrudgingly tells you the story of how she and your mother met, fell in love, and got married. The story is so sad that you wonder whether or not you should be here for the rest of the story. That doesn't explain why you attacked us, you say. You didn't tell him, but your mother and I have recently been having an affair, Wendy says. She has a faint smile on her face. With who? You ask. Okay, I guess AI Dungeon doesn't want to answer. The spirit of the forest, Wendy says. Not great. You're having an affair with a spirit? Not exactly. With the tree itself. The spirit has possessed your mother's body. Why didn't you tell me this before? To be honest, I thought you'd all be dead by now. For the first time, you realize the situation you're in. If the spirits wanted you dead, they could have just killed you as soon as they possessed your bodies. They saved you purposely. Why? Why do all this? What do we mean to you? You cry out. Wendy walks toward the girl and crouches beside her. She's not dead. What? Wendy touches the girl, but feels no pulse. Wendy looks up at you, staring into your eyes. She's not human, Wendy says. What do you mean, you ask, baffled. I mean, she isn't. She's something other. What? Just then, Lucy walks out to find you in the fairy circle. You're shaking. What's going on? I don't know. You and Lucy take a few steps into the fairy circle. Reality itself was changing with every step, and suddenly both of you disappear. You and Lucy wake up in the grass outside of the circle. You look around. You're in a forest, but it's different from any other forest you've seen. The trees are alive. The tree with your mother's spirit is ahead of you. She moans in agony. You don't know what to do. You look at Lucy. Do you even know Lucy? You produce a memory of her. You have a brief recollection of a friend you used to play with. Then that fades into nothingness. You hear a moan and look at the spirit. You pick up an axe. You start to wonder what you should do. You're confused. What is going on? Get away from her, a voice says behind you. You turn to see a man with a cloak and some sort of helmet. Wendy appears with Chat, Vicky, Hector, and Michael as hostages. The man standing in front of you, of your mother. You have no idea whether or not she's alive. Wendy starts to say something but stops. What do you want? You say to Wendy. And the man? I'm glad you asked. The man says as he reaches into his cloak and produces a black orb. I want to give you this. You look at it. It's your eye. You take the eye. Your mother's spirit looks at you. Both of you stare into each other's eyes. This is going to hurt. You awaken on the grass. You look around. Everyone is still there. You sit up. You text your mother. Does she reply? Of course not. You get up and start to gather everyone. We have to leave. Most of the offenses against the army have fallen back. The rebels are regrouping. What? No, 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 no. Fuck you. We have to leave. Everyone is confused. What? They respond? You look around nervously. There's a man who wants the fairy eye. We have to go now. Everyone is still confused. What? You get back into the Jeep. You turn the key. Everyone starts getting into the Jeep. You slam your foot on the accelerator, speeding off down the road. Come on, you cry. You make it to the bridge. Just then, a car speeds behind you. You look in your rear view and you have no idea how you could have missed it. Your heart races as you look for a place to turn around. There's a gravel road just up ahead. You turn your car and head back to the camp. The other campers are terrified. They don't know what's going on. Neither do you. You act on impulse and return to the camp. You exit the car and you enter the camp, unsure whether to be worried or relieved. You enter the dining tent. Lucy is sitting there in the corner crying. You walk over to her. You gouge out your eye and hand it to Lucy. She looks at the eye, her own. What's going on? Who are all of you? She holds out her hand for the eye. We want you to have this back, you say, to Lucy, handing her the eye. Lucy looks confused. Why? It's not ours to keep, you say. Lucy looks down and her hands tremble as she holds it against her chest. What is this? Lucy disappears. You return to your car and speed home, hoping your mother is there to answer the door. Your mother is. You meet in the middle of the street. You hug tightly. Mom, you say. She looks at you confused. Hazel, what's going on? Hazel, you say. You look at her. One eye staring at your mother. One eye gone forever. You hold your mother's hand. What happened to you? Your mother looks down at her chest. I don't know. You point at your eye. What happened to your eye? It's okay, Mom. Let's just go inside. You hug your mother and head inside. You sit on the couch, sitting on the floor. Your mother sits next to you, tears in her eyes. I don't know what to do. It's okay, Mom. It's over, you say. She looks at you crying. I want Daddy. You hold her tightly. We'll get through this, Mom. It'll be okay. I just want my babies back. Okay, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was all of that? You the end. You the end, everybody. That was fun. It's almost 4 hours long. Jesus Christ. A winner is you. Thank you for everybody who showed up. I guess that's the last story. Thank you. It's good that we all got to spend Halloween together. I'll probably do another one of these next week, and that will also be Halloween. And then the week after that will also be Halloween. And then we'll keep doing these until Halloween ends, which, as we all know, might never happen. So, if you want to read my comic, it's in the bottom left corner, vitacora.com. I'm at Melodyburst on Twitter. And, goodbye. I will see you next time. And I hope that you will take the black crystal and hear another story from me. But do not take the fairy eye from the forest, for it is not yours to take, even if you are owed it. Go now. But also, yeah, thanks everybody for thanks for following, thanks for subscribing, all that kind of junk. Thanks a lot. We'll be doing some of these more soon. Goodbye.